this is the hour. And so we're going to take a look at what this hour is all about. What is this time that we're living in? And Joanna Macy calls this time the Great Turning. She says it's the vast and necessary adventure of our time. As many of you know, there are many native cultures who have prophesied that this would be a transition from one world to the next, like a literal revolution and dying of one world, rebirthing into the next world. At this time, modern scientists and environmentalists have determined that if we attempt to continue living the way that we're living and growing at the rate that we're growing, then we have less than 15 years worth of resources on this planet. Any way you look at it from any perspective, this is a time where great change is upon us out of necessity. So Joanna Macy refers to this current cultural reality, the society that we're living in right now, as the industrial growth society. She reminds us that it depends on continual growth of production and profit for industry and corporations, like quarter to quarter, and this year's quarter, second quarter, as opposed to last year's second quarter, that the only way that it succeeds and can work is that if it continues to grow and grow and grow, which means it continues to consume and consume and consume. And she points out that in systems theory, which she studied, if one part of the system begins to grow exponentially in that way, without the whole system being included, that it's actually going to take the whole system down. That one part can't grow without the rest of the pieces being involved and also benefiting. So looking at it in that way, and also just in that common sense way of, like cancer, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So the cancer can be successful, it can be thriving and growing into this large, glorious, impressive tumor. Meanwhile, the rest of the body suffers and will die, will not be able to continue living if that cancer is growing in that way. So the continued growth of this industry is just not sustainable. It just won't work. And what we're looking at is that we exist in the generation that is seeing the end of that growth, is seeing that wall that we're running up against. In Joanna Macy's work, she reminds us that the industrial growth society is going down, that it inevitably is going to collapse and fail in the very near future. And this can be a really intense thing to acknowledge, to consciously admit, because even those of us here at the end of the road are reliant on this society. We are in a situation now where we actually are relying on trucks bringing our food to our local stores. We're reliant on income sources that are related to the industrial growth society. And so this can be scary, and this is part of what we're going to be looking at today. So, we are intricately involved with something that's going down. But we are more intricately involved with something that's rising up, with a much bigger system. And we've been involved with the system for as long as humans have been around. We've been involved with the system since before humans were here on this planet. And this is the system of life. This is the system, the Gaia matrix of life.
What is Gaia?
Gaia is this earth that we live on. This is that energy, that spirit of this earth. And so her energy and the system that comes from her is what we're made of, is who we are. And so as we recognize our dependence on the industrial growth society and the fear around it going down, it's also essential to realize that we are actually more deeply connected with something much bigger and much more powerful and much more longer lasting. So as this industrial growth society goes down, life is being called up call to rise up like new sprouts through the concrete, and this is the nature of the great turning.